Well, we're still in AD 29, and we're looking at one of the most exciting and interesting events that you could possibly look at. We're in John 17, verses 1 through, we're in John 11, 1 through 44. And Jesus has been in Perea. Now he gets word from Bethany, which is about 2 miles away, more towards Jerusalem, where Jesus has been threatened and attempts have been made to kill him. And he gets word that Lazarus, Mary and Martha's brother, who Jesus loved all three, was sick. There's some strange things that happen here. The travel distance wouldn't be so long, and when he got the word, he waited 2 days. And then in 2 days, he told his disciples that Lazarus was asleep. And they thought, well, then he'll get well if he's asleep. And Jesus said, no, he's dead. And then he said, we'll go to Judea. And of course, they questioned that. If he had just been threatened there, why would he go back, especially since Lazarus is already dead? Jesus makes some interesting statements here and talks about in the daylight you don't stumble, and at night you do stumble. And of course, Jesus is the light of the world, and nobody stumbles if they're in his light. Nevertheless, he arrives at Bethany, and there he finds that Lazarus had been dead for 4 days, been in the tomb for 4 days. And so it's very clear that even when he received word that Lazarus was sick, before the messengers even got back, Lazarus had already passed. I remember preaching this message a number of times in different churches, titling it All the Right Words, because that's exactly what Martha had. You recall Martha met Jesus, and she said, if he'd been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. And she said, well, I know he'll raise up on the last day and the resurrection. He said, I am the resurrection. I am the life. And if you believe in me, you'll never die. And even if you do die, you'll live again. Do you believe this? And Martha very clearly says, yes, I believe that you're the Christ. Now, the same kind of thing happens between Jesus and between Jesus and Mary. Mary said, if he had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And finally, he talks them into taking him to the tomb. And there in verse 35 is probably the verse that's been used more by Bible students than any others in memorizing scripture, because it just says Jesus wept. 2 words. A pretty easy verse to remember. Why did he weep? Did he weep because he loved Lazarus that much, or did he weep because he had to bring him back from the dead? Now, you'll have to answer that. It's divine speculation. But I believe that he wept because he had to bring him back from the dead, because heaven is a much more wonderful place than this is. Nevertheless, when he tells him to roll away the stone, the same Martha that says, yes, Lord, I believe you are the Christ. Now Martha says, as he asks for the stone to be rolled away, don't do it, because by now there'll be a stench. All the right words. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe you are the resurrection and life. Yes, I believe you're the Christ. But don't roll away the stone, because by now there'll be a stench. Ron Dunn does a wonderful message about this. Of course, Ron has already gone to be with the Lord, but he talks about how they prepared the body for burial, and Jewish customs was to wrap every member so that skin didn't touch skin, and that they wrapped the face and the hands and the arms. And so when Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth, the only way he could come forth is to hop. because he's almost mummified with all of this cloth. And it tells us that right in the text. Go back and read this. It's a wonderful story, a wonderful event to read over and to see. And several of the commentaries and several of the other preachers that I've heard preach on this section of passage said it was very important for Jesus to say, Lazarus, come forth. Otherwise, all of the tombs in the area probably would have been emptied. Nevertheless, he had promised his disciples that this illness was not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God would be glorified. And as we see the results, and we know that Jesus' time going to the cross is coming soon, this brought a lot of attention to Jesus because he was raising the dead and because he had the power over death. My friends, you may have all of the right words. You may say, yes, I know even though I die, I'll live eternally with him in heaven. But do you just have all the right words, or do you really believe that? Do you really believe that he raises the dead to a place called heaven? Think about it. Think about how Martha answered so easily with words, but when it came down to the actual opening of the tomb, she did not have the faith that her words expressed. My prayer is, oh Lord, help me to have the kind of faith where my words and my belief are in total alignment, and that I believe without any hesitation or any doubt that you're the resurrection and the life, and that even if I die, I'll live again. I hope that's your prayer too. God bless you. And that's my thought for the day.